What's up, everybody? Dante here. This is a video about headphones. Now, I did a video actually about headphones I enjoy listening to music to, but this is something totally different. This is about podcasting and video podcasting, you could say. Now, I have a Rodecaster Pro in my house. I have actually two of them. I have one I use for people who wants to start a podcast, get things up and running. I let them use my equipment for rent, kind of like a renter's fee. They rent it out. They use all my equipment, and I kind of help them out editing and things like that. So when it comes to podcasting and people trying to get into it, and a lot of people ask me, do you use headphones or you don't use headphones? Depending on the situation or the layout of the actual podcast episode. If it's got two of y'all, you can use headphones so y'all both can monitor each other's audio, make sure everything's right. But say if you're not using a Rodecaster Pro and you're using a Zoom H6 or a Sound Device Mix Pre 3. Now you have to have something else to have multiple people on there with multiple headphone jacks and things like that. So it kind of tricky, depends on what audio recorder you're going to use for your podcast. When I first started, I actually had the Rodecaster Pro. I got one right away and started, loved it. All the adjustments and all the things you can do. Bluetooth headphone, you can have a phone with a cord next to it. You can hook up the computer to it. All kinds of sounds and effects you can put in your show without having to put in post when you are editing the podcast on your computer. There's all that other stuff that you would use to kind of spice it up a little bit with some sound effects or some music in it. Doing it in post was a bit of a headache, but this device eliminated all that. You could do all that within the show without having to go back and post and cut this out. It was a lot easier. So that's what made me get into podcasting right away, because when I got that, it made the job a lot easier getting started. But what if you don't have a Rodecaster Pro and you have a Zoom H6 or a Sound Device? That's a little bit more tricky, because with the Zoom H6 is one headphone jack. Now the host can monitor all the audio when it comes to headphones, but what about the guests? Then you have to get something else where it has multiple headphone jacks. You got to get another piece for that and all those type of things. See, that's when it comes into spending more money. It depending on what kind of podcast you're going to have. If you're going to have guests, 1, 2 or more, then I recommend the Rodecaster Pro, some headphones, so you all can monitor each other's audio. But what if you don't have that? And you kind of doing things on the fly, and you kind of just look at the levels when it comes to wherever your field recorder is and make it work. I actually like not using headphones. I actually did a podcast episode without using no headphones at all. And I enjoyed it more for some odd reason. I don't know what it was, but that episode was just a lot more fun to do. I don't know why. I had a Shure SM7B right here in front of me, and I had my Zoom H6. Matter of fact, it was on the left side of me. And I recorded an episode, had my notes in there, talked about what I want to talk about, and I had more fun doing it. But with I guess it was the mindset of the Rodecaster Pro, what allows me to do, having headphones, sound effects, all those things that you can do within your show when I have to go back and post. I guess that's what makes it more fun to use headphones when it comes to Rodecaster Pro. Sound effects, your intro, your outro, monitoring levels on each other microphone. That how many guests you have, because you can have up to 4 guests with a microphone. But if you want to have somebody in by the phone, you could do by Bluetooth or by the cable. So you can have up to a good amount of people when it comes to the Rodecaster Pro. When it comes to a field recorder and you just want to interview somebody, that's perfectly fine to take with you and monitor audio with headphones through that. But your guest may want to hear it too. Maybe you're in some place and it's very noisy and he may not hear you. That's what the headphones help you do too. But for me, it's up in the air when it comes to headphones, because, like I said, I had the most fun doing the episode with no headphones. But when I use my Rodecaster Pro, I like using headphones because of the extra feature that allows me to do. The sound effects, intros, outros. I don't have to do that in post. I'm doing all that while I'm recording the show. But if you're just starting a podcast and you're kind of up in the air about whether to use headphones or not, if you got a pair of earbuds and a field recorder, you're perfectly fine to get up and running so you can monitor the audio that you're saying. And this can kind of give you some flexibility to learn from when you first start. Because when you first start, you may not like the audio sound. It may not sound good to you. But as you get more practice and learn new techniques when it comes to audio devices that you use, recorders, which one sounds better than the other, which ones allow you to do more flexibility when it comes to editing it in post, adjusting your levels, all those things, it's all up to you in the end. And depending on which one you go with and how you want to push forward and move on with your podcast, and more you try to add to it, it all depends on what devices you use along the way. So the question is, do I like headphones or not? Yes and no. I know people probably like, that ain't a real answer. I know it's not, because if I use the Rodecaster Pro, I like using headphones. If I use my Zoom H6, I don't like using headphones. It all depends on what I use that day. That's just how it goes, and I'm weird like that, I guess. But for me, it all comes down to, what do you have as a device? Once I get my hands on the sound device, Mix Pre 3, I'm going to test that, do a couple podcast episodes, and use that as kind of like, I'll give it a 2-week run. Use that as like my field recorder, my podcast machine. Like, just use that every day. Instead of using the Zoom H6, I'm going to use that for the time being. Just see how it works out, see how it sounds, all the stuff that you could do in post when it comes to editing the sound and volume. When it say you recorded this one person's microphone, it wasn't high enough, you can kind of do that in post. And it gives me the flexibility to kind of just adjust things to my liking. But with this video here, and you ask me, do I like headphones or I don't? Yes and no. And depending on the headphones, like, these are pretty good. The Audio-Technica's ATH M50s are good headphones. Pretty reasonable price. I think they're $150 now. I've seen some Sennheiser ones for $100. So depending on how much you want to spend on headphones, it's up to you. Now, if you got some iPhone earbuds, that's a good starting headphones that you could use. Like, if you got let's just say you got a Zoom H4. Is it H4? Yeah, H4n. And you ain't got no headphones like these, and you got some earbuds, you can start with that. That's fine. But once you get some real studio monitor headphones that you could really pay attention to the audio and all that stuff, that's when you want to invest in some of these, some Sennheisers. Now, if you want to go big timing with the audiophile type that costs like $2,500, by all means, you could do that. But if you're just getting started and you just need some good headphones, these ain't that bad either. But like I said, for me, depending on the device I use to record audio, depends on if I like headphones or not. Simplest thing I could say. But anybody who has a podcast or any type of those field recorders out there, let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about headphones and recording podcasts, or if you're out in the field and you got a field recorder with you and you have headphones. But do you use headphones? Do you use earbuds? What do you use? Let me know in the comment section. Hit that like, subscribe button, share this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out.